Hello, we're back for episode number 11 of the Building with Breven podcast, and back with the the beginning duo, Brian and Steven. So last week, Dad or Mike and I talked about weatherization and energy efficiency, while Steven was having a whole lot more fun over in Europe versus working on the business. So, Steven, what'd you get into over there?
Yeah, it was an incredible trip. My wife Sydney and I both went to Europe. Yeah, I got to spend a long week over there. Basically, we were there for a friend's wedding in Paris, and did a couple days in Paris, a couple days in London, and a couple days in Amsterdam. So really, really fun trip. Got to see all the sights and eat a lot of food and drink a lot of drinks and all that good stuff. So um, yeah, really, really awesome trip, and just a lot of time to reflect on our business, and yeah, ready to come back and hit the ground running. So, and that's exactly what I did. Got back and had a lot to clean up, but um, yeah, thanks to you and Dad for holding down the fort while I was gone. But yeah, glad to be back.
We tried. Maybe we need to take some of the European architecture and bring it over here to Central Texas. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, we just have to rewind the clock about 1,000 or 2,000 years, right?
yeah, we could build some of the quality that they have, but it would cost a whole lot more. They have some buildings that withstand the test of time. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that was honestly one of my favorite parts, was just seeing the incredible architecture all over the place. So yeah,
Yep.
really, really cool, eye-opening trip.
Oh, good. Well, let's jump into this one. This week we want to talk about our construction management software and how builders stay organized. If you have talked to a custom home builder at length or are about to talk to a custom home builder, you probably wonder how do they do this when you've got 5, 10, 30, 40 projects, especially when they're custom, right? If it's a production builder, they have their systems and it's rinse and repeat on the same home being built multiple times. But with custom, every home oftentimes has never been built before. So, uh, how do builders stay organized? There's obviously a lot of different ways to answer that question, and what works for one builder may not work for another, and that's perfectly fine. But what we wanted to do in this episode is really just talk about how we stay organized and the construction management software that we use to do so. Now, there's a lot of other pieces and processes of our business that is managed outside of the construction management software, but we like to look at this as the hub of where all things related to a particular project reside. So it's important to note that this tool, one of the goals of many, is to really make sure that we reduce and hopefully eliminate any miscommunication with all the details that go back and forth during particularly in the pre-construction phase, right? When a lot of things are being decided upon with selections, design, this goes here, that goes there. And so that's what we wanted to jump into today.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great topic, and I'm glad we're covering it today. I've always said, and I still stand by it, is that any builder can be successful if they have very good organization and efficient communication. And I truly believe that a good construction management software is paramount for that. So, a good topic to talk about today will open the eyes of listeners on different options for construction management software. And unfortunately, it's not their choice, it's the builder's choice. But most of them function the same, to be honest, so the difference between one and the next is not that great. And so for that matter, we're going to talk about our construction management software, others that we've used, and all of them are very similar. So it should give listeners a good idea of what they should expect if their builder is and hopefully should be using construction management software to help manage their particular builds.
Yep, absolutely. So jumping right into it, I mean, from a homeowner's perspective, why should they care about this? Let's jump into what does a construction management software do? and we'll tag team this, but what does it do for them that makes the experience for the homeowner better or easier or more convenient?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things, and we'll break that down in this episode. But I would say the main things are really, like we said, organization. And that helps the builder. And then it also helps the clients be able to refer back to whether it's a iPhone or Android app on your phone that you can reference whenever you want to know more information about where your build is currently or what's going on the job site that day or whatever else. That's one of the small perks. And then it also just makes the communication synced up between the homeowner and the builder. So I think that's basically the gist of it. Is it's truly software. It's a tool to help connect the builder with the job site and the client with the job site and the builder. But there's a lot of different construction management software. So we're familiar with Builder Trend. That's the company that we currently use and the software that we currently use. There's Co-Construct, which was just bought by Builder Trend. There's Procore. There's Build Pro. I mean, there's a slew of them, and they all do very similar things. So if your builder's not using Builder Trend like we are, it's not a red flag by any means, but we're just going to talk about the one that we use, and they should all be very similar. So.
Yep. Great. So let's just jump into a few things here. We don't want to drag this podcast out and bore you with all the details, but just share with you what it does. So in no particular order of importance, let's spend 30 seconds, 60 seconds talking about scheduling and what it can do.
Yep. So one of the things that these construction management softwares do really well is scheduling. These schedules are typically real time, or they're live schedules. So as one item in the build pushes, so say your foundation, which the home starts with, your foundation takes a week or 2 weeks longer than it should due to weather delays, whatever else, the construction manager should be shifting that on the schedule. That pushes the entire schedule back. Sometimes you'll only see phases of the build: foundation phase, frame phase, however the builder chooses to do their scheduling. But yeah, basically it's a really nice tool that is real time, and it shows you the progress of your particular home. And
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it's okay. I was just going to wrap it up by saying that, it's a good tool, but just be aware that, schedules are always fluid. So if your builder is using this tool, don't get married to the end date or the finish date of your home, because it's more than likely going to change many, many times throughout the build. So when you see it at the beginning versus when you see it at the end, that end date is most likely going to push around quite a bit. Unless you work with a builder such as us, or some of the rare builders that quote you a fixed end date, and give you a final time that your home is going to be complete. That's hopefully reflected in the scheduling.
Yep. No, great point. And I think the takeaway from that is that from an organizational standpoint, this is how we're looking at, okay, hey, something was delayed, but this is how we can still forecast into the future. When is this home going to be complete? And a builder like us, so one of our guarantees is on time. So while the end date is going to shift throughout any build in our schedule, that happens on 100% of the homes we build, we still have a promise or a guarantee that we're going to finish the home before a date that we agree upon before we begin. So even if we shift, even if there's delays that push us out 3 weeks, well, as long as we're ahead of the date that we've guaranteed at the beginning, we're still on time.
Yep. Yeah, good point.
So talking about another topic here, and I think this one's also important, but a little bit more on the financial side: estimates. We use estimates to determine in the pre-construction phase, or in our process, the preliminary building agreement of what is the total cost of this project. So this is where we manage the numbers of every aspect of the build, every phase of the build, how much it's going to cost, and so that's what the system we use, and not super relevant to you if you're one of our homeowners, because we do fixed price. and you wouldn't see that it's not necessary. It's more of just, hey, this is also part of one of the features in the tool that we use to get all of our costs organized to be able to provide you with a fixed price before the build begins.
Yep. Yep. And I think that's a good segue into the next topic. Those estimates eventually turn into budgets, right? So you can cover budgets and actuals there.
Yep. Good point. And really don't need to spend any time on this, but we as a builder, regardless of what contract we signed with you, have to measure the budget or the estimate, which is the estimate turns into a budget. And how are we doing compared to the actuals, right? Because if we've underestimated something, under budgeted that, and we go over it, then that's got to come out of somebody's pocket, either yours or ours, depending on how the contract is written. And again, in our case, a fixed price contract, the risk is on us, not you as the homeowner. So we also utilize Builder Trend currently for measuring the budget to actual.
Yep. Excellent. And then, another thing to touch on too with construction management softwares is construction updates. Typically, it's the task of the construction manager or the on-site manager for your particular build. They are the ones that are most likely going in and updating pictures and the schedule and the budgets and all that good stuff for your particular build. And those construction updates are reflected in the construction management software, which is really nice to see for people that are building a home in a different city or, not local to where they're actually living. They can get pictures, they can get comments, they can leave comments as well, like what happened on the job site today, or I see this picture. I thought our driveway was going to go down the left side, not the right side, whatever it is. It's an open communication through there. But yeah, those construction updates are really cool for folks that don't live close to their particular job site.
Yep. Yeah, you cover that, and it's also goes hand in hand with just the two-way communication and the messaging, and along those same lines, change orders. So when a change order comes up and in the middle of construction, you want to make a change to some piece of the build, we do like to utilize this to monitor the change order. How much is it going to cost? Collect that payment up front, and be able to see, okay, how does this change order affect the total price of the build, both for us and for you?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And on that same note, change orders all stem from selections, usually. And so when one selection or a design choice is changed, that's what initiates those change orders. But those selections are another thing that can be tracked through construction management software. There's a section in there that builders can go through and allow homeowners to make their selections in our case, Builder Trend. And those homeowners can log into their portal. They can see all the selections that they've made. They can sign off on selections that still need to be made. And it's a good tool in that sense that everybody knows what has been selected. They're locked in at a certain point in the build before usually construction starts. And then anything that needs to be changed after that is what initiates those change orders. So those selections are useful because everybody can refer back to them. They're all in one place, and they can even be shared with trades. So if trades are looking for the particular tile in a certain room, or the tile lay pattern, or the grout colors, or anything like that, those trades can reference the selections in the building software as well. So kind of a cool all-in-one platform. And it's nice to tie the trades in as well. They can look at those kind of things, and there shouldn't be any questions if they're using the software correctly. And that's a whole can of worms in itself.
Yep. But I think we cover the most important topics here. Really, the point of this was to share with you a little bit of how we stay organized on the back end. Again, at the beginning of the episode, I briefly mentioned that there are other tools that we just have to use, right? There's as a builder, there's no one software that does it all. But we found that if your builder does not have some sort of construction management software, it doesn't mean that they're a bad builder. It's just, I think you just need to dive in a little bit more, and you have every right to ask some more questions on, hey, how do you stay organized with all this? And there are builders that successfully do it via spreadsheet, but and yes, we use spreadsheets on certain things as well. It's a great tool, but if you've got 10 projects and they're all on spreadsheets and you have nothing else, it just begs it makes me ask the question of how are you staying organized on all that with all the changes and making sure that everything's being communicated to the right people at the right time. So that was what we hope we were able to get across on this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that caveat there at the end, I like that you say that, because you're right. I mean, no one builder is using one tool and one tool only. And while Builder Trend and other construction management software, yeah, are really really cool tools that encompass a lot of things, none are perfect, right? They get you close, but they don't get you all the way there. So there are builders that need to supplement with other things like spreadsheets and like other messaging software and things like that. But overall they are good tools. And just to your point, it just helps builders stay more organized with each build. So yeah, cool topic. Kind of an easy one. It's pretty straightforward, but you're right. It begs the question that if your builder is not using builder software, how are they going to manage your project, and how can you feel at ease that they're going to do it efficiently? So yeah.
Great. We'll wrap this one up then with no further ado.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.